Hey, Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media covering the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe, a.k.a. Man of the People. Why do I earn that title? Because I enjoy being a resource for you guys out there that are fans of the Carolina Panthers. Today I have for you Day 5 recap of training camp here from Charlotte, the first day in padded practice, and it was exciting. It was a lot of fun to watch. So we're going to go through it all, and we're also going to end the show, as always, with our Q&A. So today's format will be some important news updates, then we'll go over the play-by-play recap, coaches and player interviews, and then your Q&A. And again, I will continue to have the chapters in YouTube so you can skip to the section that you want to for those who may be watching the show with the rebroadcast. So happy to be here. Day 5, first day in padded practice. You're going to get to see things and hear things that you haven't been hearing all week. But let's go ahead and get through these in order for you. Sorry, the guy just walked by with the cleaning stuff and is getting, I'm breathing it in a little bit, but I'm going to try to work through it all for you nevertheless. Let's go ahead and start with some news on the player side. Not often do you hear about a player retiring early, but you had that happen today with the Carolina Panthers. So let's go through a few transactions that the team has had to make recently. That would be placing running back Rashad Penny on the reserve retired list. So Coach Dave Canales said that after practice yesterday, and he said he's never been in this kind of position to experience what it's like when your body's not doing what you want it to do and you just know that it's time to walk away. Respects Rashad a lot for it. But he said after practice yesterday they had a conversation, a really good conversation, in which Rashad let him know that he was going to be retiring. So that happened yesterday, officially announced today by the Carolina Panthers, and signed wide receiver Tavian Robinson to the team. That was, again, signing wide receiver Tavian Robinson to the squad to have some more legs in that running back room. So, hey, I also want to quickly say this. Thank you all again so much for the 10,000 subscribers. I will be doing a special video trying to talk to as many of you as you can to say thank you, to hear what you have to say, questions or comments. So if you have not already done so, let me know the best day and time for you to join a broadcast live so I can go ahead and schedule that with you all. So again, thank you. We're over 10,000 subscribers. Next up, 15,000, as well as player interviews will start this week. So be sure to set those notifications so that you can watch those interviews as they come. All right, so continue to work through the updates. We had some players that were not on the field today. They were vet days, kind of, if you will, taking place already. One of those would have been for Shaq Thompson, who had an illness, and he was out on the field today, but didn't go, as they were just trying to keep those guys rested, if you will, for the big day in Clemson, which will be Thursday. So again, if you have not had a chance to see a practice, and you have the opportunity to go down to Clemson and watch, you may want to do so because it's going to be a padded practice, going to be treated like an intra-squad scrimmage, so that should be a lot of fun to watch. So they're trying to keep Shaq Thompson, as well as Taylor Moton today had the little bucket hat on and jersey, no helmet or anything. Both of those guys were just preventative type of maintenance things. Recovery days is more what Dave Canales called those. And then got an update for you on Dawood Davis, who went out yesterday on a cart. Coach Dave Canales mentioned today that he will be out for several weeks with that, but he certainly expects him to be back in time for the regular season. Then one more note that I want to mention here. For Clemson and the Fan Fest, so it was kind of news to me the other day when a reporter was talking about the bus ride, and Derek Brown was at the podium and seemed kind of like, hey, looked off to the side of the PR guy, we taking the bus? But yes, officially, the Carolina Panthers will be taking a bus down to Clemson, and that's going to give the guys another opportunity to bond together, to get to know one another. Canales said he was intentional about doing that. What I haven't had a chance to ask, and I will ask, is will they be coming back the same night? I assume that they will be. You know, you got a bus ride, so they come back after games, no matter what time that ends, and they fly back. So I would really strongly assume that they're going to do the same thing in Clemson, taking the bus back to Charlotte afterwards. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this play-by-play breakdown for today. And let me make sure your comments aren't coming. If you guys have any questions, please be sure to leave those in the comment section. As I get through all of my notes from today, I'll go through and answer the questions, as many as I can. Donald Breyer says, thanks for the content. Donald, thank you for tuning in. Thank you very much for tuning in. I've had a chance to meet some of you all during training camp. Hopefully, we'll continue to do so. I plan on being down in Clemson. So if you're there, have a chance to see me, please say hello. But Donald, thank you for tuning in and watching. So let's go over this play-by-play from today. And again, playing with this new format, give me your feedback if you like the new format or if you want me to go back and talk about every single play that I see. So just, thinking out loud, when I was first getting ready to do the play-by-play, and I'm thinking like, man, I think the wide receivers got the best of the deals today against the cornerbacks. But then I looked through all of my notes and I looked at the play-by-play breakdown, and then I remember it's a combination, right? I'll film highlights. So if you'd like to see highlights from practice, please check out another video. I put 2 videos up each day. One video will be just the highlights from practice, and then the other video will be this, where I do a recap. So if you also like to see those plays, all of them, and I don't know how many, 20, 30 plays, then just click on the channel itself, and then you'll see that video on the channel. But as I think about the plays that I recorded for highlights, and then I think about the plays that I was able to watch and took notes on, it actually was pretty fair today. The defense had their share of making some plays on the ball, breaking up some plays. Quarterbacks did not always put the ball on the money every single time for the guys. It was some times where there were miscommunication. You think, you could see that quarterback thought the player was going here, the player went there. Was that a choice route? Was that a miscommunication? Who knows? But it's still exciting that, yes, the offense did have some times where they were giving the cornerbacks the business. So it balances out. I'd say overall it was a 50-50 day. And here I'm going to actually show you a few plays from today's practice. So here's an example of the defense getting the better end of the deal. So you see there on that play, it was definitely a bigger receiver, but the cornerback played him good, stayed in tight, got some hands on him, I guess punching at the ball. I couldn't clearly see from that angle, but you see the result of that was a incompletion. Now, on the opposite side, and I like J.C. Horn, all right? So this isn't to be like, oh, J.C. Horn, he's struggling, he's not good. This is not at all it, but I just appreciate, because I'm an older guy myself, appreciate Adam Thielen. He's not getting much talk from training camp right now, right? You got Xavier Legette, you got Deontay, you got Mingo that's doing good, you got Marshall that's doing good. Thielen's not being talked about much, but I'm really liking the fact that he's still chipping away, doing his thing. So I want to show you this play with Adam Thielen being defended by J.C. Horn and how, well, let me just play it for you. Check this out. So, did you see that? Did you see that? He's like the route technician, right? He's not super fast, but he managed to do a move on JC, get enough spacing and positioning. Ball was in a perfectly thrown spot, and he made the catch. So, but again, it really did today go 50-50 with offense doing well, defense doing well at times. So just continue to like to see this group as a whole progress. And we got some questions coming. Again, I will come back to those questions in a little bit. And my player that I say stood out today, Terrace Marshall Jr. So this is his 3rd year, and he seems to be playing, in my opinion, this is strictly my opinion, he seems to have put in a lot of work. And I just get the feeling that we're watching a guy that knew that he had to work on some things, and he's excited because after what I've noticed with Terrace this training camp is after each play, he celebrates. And I'm not saying that he should not celebrate, but to me, it's just like, Yeah, I've been, first 2 seasons in the league wasn't what I wanted it to be. Last year, I wanted to get out of here. I worked on some things. The game is coming to me, it's slowing down for me, and I'm understanding things a little bit better, and I'm able to get open, and I'm able to make these catches. So I'm happy about it. So I applaud him for that, right? Whatever work that he did to get himself playing in a better position that he is this season, hats off to you. The more good players we have, the better. So I'm not going to be mad at good competition. But he's also making some great catches. Today I noticed several times, at least on 2 particular occasions, I was like, wow, he got a ball that wasn't right there in the breadbasket. He got a ball that he had to extend out and get, and wasn't easy to get with the defender laying all over him. And then on another play, it seemed like it was going to be one of those plays that was intercepted by a defender, but Terrace went against his body, went back the other way and grabbed the ball, held onto it after he made contact with the ground with that. So, and, had some other plays with one-on-ones and on air where he was just looking pretty good running the ball, catching, looking big. We haven't talked about, it seems like there's a lot of talk about Bryce getting bigger because he's such a small guy, but Terrace looks like he's a nice size out there as well. Good target for Bryce. So he was the guy for me that stood out today. And again, hats off to him for that. And now we're going to go to our player and coaches interviews. So today, and I don't know, you guys I'm sure going to make fun of me drinking all this water once I get on camera. But it's a long day. So I got to drink the water, okay? Dave Canales spoke with the media today, and though there's not a ton of players because there's a lot of turnover player-wise and coaching staff-wise, it's a really good question that was presented to Coach Canales today about motivating the previous players and how does he go about doing that with the players that are out there. And I'm also going to talk about one player in particular that probably was some of the basis for that question. But here's Coach Canales on the players from last year and motivating those guys to perform well this year.
Yeah, that's just, it's the wrong process. It's the wrong approach to take. Our guys aren't really there. They're not really using that external what happened in the past. It's what can we do today? What is the 2024 Panthers team going to look like? That's what we're after. And if I can keep guys focused, working towards how do we do today in practice? Okay, how do we do on the next one? We don't need to make any judgments about the past or the future. We don't need to make any statements about this season or anything like that. Can we just have a great practice? And that's the mentality that's powerful, because if you start using external motivation, well, what happens when that motivation's gone? Then where are you at? It's got to come from here. It's got to be about pursuing your best today. Now, guys come in and I see a couple of guys who are just really focused to find their best, and I'm just trying to capture that part. Just try to ride the momentum of Miles Sanders coming into this camp with this great look on his face about what he's going to do this year. And it's just so cool to be able to use that momentum for the whole group. It's like, here's a guy that's getting after it every day. Can we all do that as a team?
So let's be clear. It's like 90 players on the team. So even though Canales has this message, yeah, some guys will still be, who they are. And he embraces guys being who they are. I just want to report on the fact that it was so interesting today that we were, the setup is, of course, you got the players on the field, then you got the media that's at the end zone, then behind the media you have the stands. And after play in which Miles Sanders ran the ball up the middle, had some contact, he looked right at the media and he said these words. He said, "All y'all been talking on me. I got something for you." It was kind of just like, it was like a little bit of a shocking moment, because we're standing on the field all the time. We hear players saying stuff to each other, and they always, for the most part, just seem to 1,000% just ignore the fact that, of course, they know that we're there, but they don't say anything to us. They just do their thing. And for Miles to look right at all the media after the play and just, it stood out. But just like I'm happy for Terrace Marshall Jr. if he continues to elevate his game and play well, I'm happy for Miles Sanders if he continues to elevate his game and play well. But it was just an interesting thing, because he's normally a pretty quiet guy. great guy to talk to in the locker room. I'm sure he will still continue to be a great guy to talk to in the locker room. But we were just like, whoa. So, yeah, some good stuff to report. Guys were talking, but again, it's first day in pads, right? Guys not only were talking to the media or Miles speaking to the media, it was guys that was talking to one another. It was some chippiness that happened during practice today. Several times there was a little skirmish that take place. Nothing at all serious, nothing at all significant. But, you saw that taking place just because it's the first day in pads and people got jobs that they're fighting for. Canales even spoke about it. He treats every day, every game like it's super important. He doesn't want to wait and say, okay, now week 1, let's turn up and let's go out. Let's go all at it. There's guys that the first preseason game of the season, extremely important for their career. Again, the bottom part of that roster, in which Dan Morgan said that he is not afraid to have guys in for tryouts, keep churning that out, keep getting the best guys in here so they can have that depth that will be needed because injuries will inevitably happen during the season. So some good things to report. I think one of them was also Chuba Hubbard and Jadeveon Clowney getting into it. And there was a few times today where you just kind of see a guy get hit hard and, they just want what they call thudding. They just want, boom, they want contact. They want anybody trying to chuck anybody over. They don't want anybody trying to bring anybody to the ground. But again, it's the first day. And some of these guys just really got something to prove, really anxious to make sure they make their presence known on this team to their teammates and to their coaches. So that'll be something that you continue to see. Moving on to Bryce. Bryce had a chance to talk with the media today, and Bryce is now in his second year. And so, hey, Bryce, there's things out there that happen now with the skirmishes that I talked about. What do you do? How do you start to continue to show your role and evolve your role as a leader on this Carolina Panthers team?
I think I definitely have the same approach looking back on it. I think the biggest thing is making sure that I'm holding myself accountable. I'm doing the right things on my own. Making sure that, you got to earn the right to be a leader, and making sure that, I can't go and tell people to work hard and then come in and not have that same intensity, not be focused in meetings, not know my stuff, whatever it may be. So I think it's similar in having that same approach, that same mindset. And then on top of that, getting the time to learn the guys, really build relationships with people and not just be someone who's talking, but someone that, off the field. And, it's on me to make sure to carve out time and to have those conversations to build that. And, this being year 2, a lot of new faces, but a lot of the similar guys as well, having more time, more connections, and then us all learning a new system. But it just, having a year under my belt, feeling more comfortable, having more experiences, I think it's just, on me. Obviously, there's stuff on the field that I'm growing in, and the same thing leadership-wise, making sure that I'm taking steps there, doing whatever it is that's best for the team. And I think that's been a common theme of what I've always been working towards in previous levels.
So some good takeaways from that, right? Obviously understanding as a quarterback, your job, your responsibility is to be the first one in, last one out. Know your job inside and out, and not have anyone in that locker room question your work ethic. And, he's up to the challenge. Bryce, several times this training camp, has been after practice just doing sit-ups, working on his core. We haven't had a chance to ask him why he's doing it, but obviously he's trying to get his body into shape and show that he's out there working hard after practice. Mentioning having relationships with guys off the field as well as on the field and being intentional about that time to know who, let him know who he is. I kind of feel like that might have been something that he picked up from Dave Canales, because Canales makes a point to know everybody, know their story, and have those relationships. So when it's, when things get tough or somebody needs to push you, you know that it's coming from a good place. So hats off to Bryce about that. He did talk about the rookies and, having the talent show, saying that, the verdict's out on Xavier Legette. Not out. It's still been decided, whether he was good or bad. Hunt talked about that, the rookie talent show as well, saying there's been some decent guys and there's been several guys that have some tomatoes thrown at them. So good stuff to hear about in terms of this team continue to gel, come together as a unit. And speaking of Robert Hunt, this is his first time in Carolina I don't know why I said his first time. A lot of guys his first time. But this is his first time more so being able to meet Bryce Young, getting to see his work of his body of work. And needless to say, it sounds like Robert Hunt's impressed. And I tell you guys, I continue to evaluate things and get more information. I'll tell you stronger opinions about certain things. Robert Hunt today said something that I hadn't really been able to see yet, not to say that it hadn't been out there before, but I want to play this clip on Robert Hunt talking about his impression of Bryce Young, and it's a pretty good one.
Bryce can roll out, da-da-da, which Tua can do that, but you know what I mean, there's different aspects of the game, and you know, Bryce does a really good job at that. So I'm impressed by that. You know, I didn't know that, so I'm impressed by that.
Is that something you had to adjust to when he does hold the ball and kind of the play breaks down a little bit? It seems like that's been happening a fair amount.
No. It's right on schedule with him. You know what I mean? Like we hold it down and he's out and he makes a play. Like it's really right on schedule. It looks good. We're not holding it longer than we need to. Like that's why I'm really impressed by seeing that by him. Like that's really impressed. He's a really young guy that can really make plays. I'm impressed by that.
So you see Robert Hunt saying that he has been really impressed with Bryce and his ability to roll out, make a play happen, and make it happen on time. And I think that stands out, and that's important to know about and analyze, because something that Canales has been very, very intentional about is saying 2.7 seconds is how quickly I want Bryce to get the ball out. And I have noticed that Bryce has been scrambling. He has rolled out. He has been under pressure at times, whether he steps up, whether he rolls out. And for him to still get the ball out in a timely manner where the offensive line doesn't feel like it's forever, that's good. You know, that's good. Bryce is still running hard after, while they're having drills, and it's not, they may flip the field and they'll sprint. That's something that Canales asked him to do, that so that when they're in a game and there's this need where he has to run and scramble, that he can do that without suddenly being like, I wasn't expecting that, right? He just be in shape for those moments that may happen during the game. It's a lot of stuff to be optimistic about as far as his team moving forward, right? So there you have it. There's the breakdown of player interviews, coaches as well, and the play-by-play from today's game. Hold on, let me go back to something. I forgot to go back. I mentioned Miles Sanders and saying something to the media. Well, let me also mention that Bryce had a comment that Miles has been super, super intense, has like a game day intensity to him that just stands out, right? So it'll all start to unfold. Today was the first day of pads. I think we're probably less than 2 weeks. What's today? Today is Wednesday, so we're about exactly 2 weeks from the first preseason game. Don't know how much he plans on playing the ones at that time, but it'll just be another time to make some more further evaluations on this team. All right, let's get into some questions. We got a lot of people watching, which I appreciate. We're going to continue to go live every single training camp. So set your bell notifications if you have not already done so, to make sure that you can join me when it's possible for you. If you don't and you leave a comment, I do my best to come back and answer those comments. So let's go ahead and get into some of these questions that have been coming in. Jay Ushu, I don't know how to say that name. Congrats on the 10K. Thank you very much. Pop said, how did Leggett do? He's doing pretty good. All the quarterbacks, all the wide receivers looked pretty good today, doing pretty well. The Matt Chatter saying Jatavian Sanders could be a great addition as well. Yeah, he's been looking solid as well. Oh, and then we got this DIGITTBR. Smash that like and sub button for Man of the People. Do what he says. Do what he says. I will appreciate it very, very much. So that'll wrap up today's session, day 5 here in Charlotte. Next up, FanFest down in Clemson. One moment here. FanFest down in Clemson will be taking place Thursday at 6:30. I hope I'm right on those times. I should look it up. Let me look it up so I can talk 100% accurately. There's no reason for me to just guess, right? 6:30, August 1st. 6:30, August 1st, in Clemson will be Fan Fest. And then all of you all can now start to officially look out for the interviews that I will be having with the top picks. Well, all the picks, hopefully. So that could be Xavier Legette, Jonathan Brooks, Trevin Wallace, Atavian Sanders, Charles Smith-Wade, Jaden Crumdy, and Michael Barrett. Look for them on the show shortly. I am reporting live from Bank of America Stadium. Chris Jenkins for Charlotte Vibe. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you again shortly.